Welcome to FantasyFran.com, tight end position, and we're here to give you the top 5 tight ends to take your fantasy team to the proverbial next level.
Yep.
I'm sports crazy Chris Barnes, and with me is sent from the heavens, Eddie Bevins, our senior analyst, right here at FantasyFran.com. Fran's up in New York doing a lot of appearances with a lot of our partners, so make sure to kind of stay posted because he's doing a lot of things while he's up in New York. But while he's gone, we got to bring you all of the news. And the news at the tight end position is as good as it's ever been.
Yep.
Number 1 this week on our list, Rob Gronkowski. All right. I love this guy, except for last week when he absolutely tore my Eagles apart. But Gronkowski is a beast. A lot of people thought he was just kind of this hokey, catch a ball, fall down type guy.
Yeah.
Whereas Aaron Hernandez was the guy catch the ball and take it to the house. Right. But Gronkowski has proven that he can get yards after the catch. He's hard to bring down, and Tom Brady loves this guy in the end zone. I expect him to have 1 to 2 touchdowns this week going up against a bad Indianapolis team. Look for him to use his size to go ahead and create mismatches with the Indianapolis linebackers.
Yeah. Number 2, a guy who is very frequently number 1, the big man, Jimmy Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He has been just a revelation this year, hasn't he? I mean,
absolutely.
Last year, rookie season, he was okay, but this year, wow. And he is Drew Brees' favorite target. He's taken over already.
Yep.
And going up against Detroit, it could be a high-scoring game. Detroit, we know they can play a little offense, and I think Drew Brees is going to find Jimmy Graham more than enough times.
Well, and speaking of finding somebody more than enough times, Jason Witten, who loves to tackle Dallas cheerleaders, but who wouldn't love to do that on their spare time? Anyway, going up against Arizona this week, we've made a lot about Arizona's defense or lack thereof. Tony Romo loves Jason Witten. They have this great connection.
Yep.
He's as dependable as they come, and we've seen Jason Witten get a lot of yards after the catch this year.
Yeah.
He's making moves. He's shown a little bit of speed, and he's going to go ahead and exploit this Arizona offense or defense. You could exploit them both, frankly. Either way. And he's going to have a great day at number 3 for us.
Yeah. Number 4, we have Vernon Davis. He's probably the best downfield threat that San Francisco has. I mean, he or Michael Crabtree, who's kind of finally developing a little bit. But if anything, Crabtree has just eased the pressure on Vernon Davis and made it a little easier for him. Mm-hmm. I really like him this week against St. Louis. The Rams are just not good. They're not good at anything, really, on defense. They don't stop the pass. They don't stop the run. Vernon Davis will have a big game.
Mm-hmm. And at number 5, a guy who's near and dear to my heart, Brent Selleck. If you looked at his early season production, it was non-existent.
Yeah, it was.
This offense just did not go to him. It wasn't a Michael Vick thing. It wasn't a Vince Young thing. It was an offensive coordinator thing. They just didn't look for him in the offense. But these last few weeks, Brent Selleck's been averaging 4 to 6 catches a game. They're looking for him as they get closer to the goal line.
Yep.
I like him a lot this week going up against Seattle, where the noise is deafening, the defense is going to be on them quick, and they're going to have to find that big receiver over the middle. Now, I got to ask you about a guy who I really, really liked kind of coming into this season, but there were some big question marks, Marcedes Lewis. Talk to me a little bit about Marcedes.
He's been a disaster this year, hasn't he, for fantasy owners?
He really has.
After scoring 10 touchdowns last year, you know how many times he's reached the end zone this year?
Not very much.
Actually, it's 0. 0 times. So, I mean, you can answer that question very quickly. I mean, the problem is when you have a guy who's so dependent on touchdowns, and suddenly you bring in Blaine Gabbert, McCown as your starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. They're not getting to the red zone very much. And when they do, the quarterback doesn't really have the skills to get it to him. And he's not really played particularly well on his own either. It's just been a really, really bad year for a guy like that. It kind of shows you how risky it is to go after a guy who had a lot of touchdowns but wasn't much in the way of catches or yards otherwise. You know, those kind of guys they fly high when they're going well, but when things go bad, they go really bad.
Sure.
Now, I want to ask you about another guy. Tell me about Jake Ballard.
Oh, well, Jake Ballard is a guy that we identified very early on as kind of a sleeper. People weren't sure what Eli Manning was going to do with kind of the exit stage left of Kevin Boss.
That's right.
But Jake Ballard has stepped in, and he has really given Eli Manning a target that he loves.
Yeah.
Jake Ballard is not the fastest guy in the world. He's maybe not the best pass blocker in the world, but he makes great catches. Even though these last couple weeks he's had some drops, they definitely haven't been the best games of his life, but I expect Jake Ballard to kind of have a bounce back week this week, and I would expect him to be a little bit higher on Fran's list.
Yeah.
So, but these should be the top 5 tight ends for Week 13. You've heard it here first. Make sure to join us back next week for Week 14 as we're kind of moving towards the playoff push in your fantasy league. And of course, check back with us, like I said, next week for all the picks, projections, and videos right here at fantasyfran.com.